Hello, I'm Morris Dimba. Welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to take you through the part 2 of this tutorial, where we are going to start laying our crane runway longitudinal girders. We'll go straight away here and get started here. And the first step we want to start marking out the points where we will be start placing our beams from. I'll go to edit here, and edit I'll pick online. I'll pick the edge of this plate, the midpoint edge of this plate. I'll pick that spot and go to the other end and pick the edge of that plate, the midpoint, and click that spot. That will locate the midpoint of this plate. And do the same thing here, or you can just copy that spot and bring it here. I'll do the same thing. I'll come to online and pick a midpoint at the edge and a midpoint at the edge at that end, and pick that spot. Right click and click interrupt to exit from that command. Now I want to pick these 2 points. I want to copy these 2 points. And press Ctrl right there, and right click and pick copy and zoom out. I'll pick it from these 2 spots to the other columns. Now the next thing remaining is to go to steel, come to steel beam and pick a beam there, and we want that beam to run from this spot all the way to this end. All the way to this end. We'll snap right there. Perfect. Now we'll double click on this beam. We'll double click on that beam and reposition it. We'll come to position here and pick front. Click apply and accept that. We want to do just the same thing. We want to lay another beam or another steel member on top of it, which will be a C-section. We'll come to beam and pick that, and we want just to start from that spot and run all the way to this end. Just snap here, right there. Now we want to change the profile of this member to a C-section. We'll double click on it to once you've double click on it, you'll see a beam properties coming up. This will allow you to change the steel profile of this beam from the catalog. Now this 4/6 is the size of this beam. 4/6 is the size of this beam, and we'll select that, and this will take us. Then double click on this member, come to beam properties here and click that button. And this will take us to the steel profile catalog, where we'll be able to change the size of that steel. Now we'll pick 356, the size of the beam, of the I-beam, and apply and accept. Do the same thing here, apply and accept. Now we'll go back to steel beam and just snap right here, snap right there, and do the same thing and run all the way to this end. Run all the way to this end and snap here, right there. Perfect. Once you've done that, we want to change the profile of this member by double clicking on it. This will bring the beam properties, and from beam properties dialog box, we'll click and attributes on the button just next to profile. This will bring up the steel profile catalog, and from there we'll be able to change the size. Now I'll minimize that and I'll minimize this because I'm now done with it. I'll go to C section, and at C section I'll click that plus sign that will give me variety of other C sections. Now under C section I'll pick RSC. Under RSC I'll pick 254, the size of this the channel. I'll go ahead and apply that and give it an OK, and come back to beam properties dialog box and click modify, apply, and give it an OK by clicking on OK button. Now I'll double click that again, and to take me back to beam properties. From the beam properties I'll be able to change the position of this member the way I like it. Now I'll come to position and come to rotation. I'll pick back. Now from back I'll come to depth and pick behind. I'll apply that and give it an OK. That way. Now I want to bring it slightly above this beam. I'll pick that, right click and come to move. I'll pick it from this spot and snap right up there. That is done. Now we want to place our rail. Now we'll come back to beam here, snap right there, and we want to start it from this end. Want to start our we want to make our starting point to start to this spot. Want to start from that spot and run all the way to this end. Run all the way to this end and snap right there. Just zoom closer, make sure you click on the right location or the right spot. Keep the duplicate, right click, double click on that and come to position here and take it front. Perfect. Apply and accept. Give it an OK and close. Deselect that. Now is not properly laid on top. We just bring it to that spot. Just zoom close and see how it lays itself on top here. It's perfect. Now we want to change this member to a rail. Now I'll come back to beam properties after double clicking on that member and click select under attributes in beam properties dialog box. This will take us to steel catalog, where we will find the right profile or the right size of our rail. Now I'll minimize this and come to rails here. And the rails, we have these two crane and bridge rails. I'll come to crane rails here. I'll click on that plus button, and I'll go to MRS, that size, and come to apply and accept, and I'll go back to beam properties and give it an OK by clicking modify and click apply and give it an OK. Here is our rail. Here is our rail, but these clamps will place them later on in the next presentation. I want just to turn this round. I'll turn this round so that you can be able to see how our rail looks, or our girder looks, or the crane rail, the crane runway looks. That's it. Now we want to weld these two members together, because the rail will be clamped on top of this channel. Now I'll come to applications and component right here. and click right there. I'll click weld. I'll type weld, I'll pick stanchion weld. I want to weld this to this. Weld that to that. Perfectly welded. And also I want to weld this to this plate. This to this. Not perfectly welded. But that we will bolt it instead of welding it. Now, you having done this, we'll select everything right there, right click and click copy. We'll zoom out and pick it from this end. We'll pick it from this spot. Just zoom closer. Just zoom closer. We want to pick a spot here. You pick it from this spot, from that spot, and zoom out and go all the way to this end. Or we can use our elevation K to mirror this. We'll right click and come to copy spatial and come to mirror and just snap right there and snap right here to mark our mirror line and click that. Click expand and click on OK. Right click and click interrupt just to get out of that mirror command. Now on this side we have our crane girder or our crane runway longitudinal girder at this end. Now we want to copy this. We'll select everything here and pick and deselect our grid. We'll change back to isometric view. Just zoom out. Now we want to populate this along the x-axis, and please note that we had removed this crane runway support just to provide the 12 meters for office creation space. Now the crane runway will run all the way to this end, and this space will remain for the offices within the workshop. Now we want to populate this. Let me just turn this round. We want to populate this runway up to this end. Now we want to populate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll right click after selecting the runway. We'll come to copy spatial and click linear. The moment you click linear, first of all check where your axis is facing. The x-axis is facing that direction. It's pointing the opposite direction where we intend to go. Now we'll type 6 meters. We want 6 of this, and the direction is opposite where we are going. Now we'll go ahead and click copy. Perfect, and click OK. Now if you take a look by going to navigate or pressing Ctrl R, you'll be able to turn this round and see how this has been populated to that very last column. We'll come to navigate and we want to turn this round. Be able to see that it has come up to that end. Just turn that round and you'll be able to see that. You'll be able to see that perfectly laid the crane runway for our workshop. Here it is. Now we'll come to navigate, or you can press Ctrl R and pick the turn or the rotation point and press your left button on the mouse, and you'll be able to turn this round as simple as this. Perfect. Now to deselect this, just click on an empty screen, and you will be able to deselect that. Perfect. Now having done that, we want to go back, we want to come to the office space for our workshop. At the Gable, we want to create some Gable columns here, and now to do that, we want to change the grid lines measurements. We'll double click on the grid. Then on the grid properties here, we want to feed some dimensions here. And prior to doing that, I want just to check this, do something here. Counter check something here before we go to modifying the grid. I'll come to edit and come to measure and check the dimension from here to here. This is 6200, 6.2 meters, and the same 6.2 meters. And the total measurements, the total length from this end to that end is 12.2 meters. 12.2 meters, and from here to here is 11 meters. Now what we are going to do, we are going to use the 11 meters. We are going to use the 11 meters. I'll come back to dimensions and measure from here to here. This is 5.5 meters. We'll divide the 5.2 meters by 2 so that we get 2550 or 2.7 meters. Then we'll divide 11 meters by 2.7 meters. Now what we'll get is 4 columns. We'll get 4 columns here, 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 and there. Now let's go. We'll double click on the grid here and come to and do away with this. Do away with that, and we'll feed 4 by 2750. That is what we want now. At the moment we don't want 5.5. Now we'll go ahead and click modify and click yes. We need this column, we need a column here, we need a column here, we just need 2 columns, 1, 2. We'll go ahead and click close. Having clicked that, we'll switch back to our elevation K, right there, and come to steel right here. In steel, we'll pick steel beam and pick steel beam right there, and snap right at the bottom here, and snap right there. Then we switch back to isometric view so that we can be able to see this or look at this properly. Now Tekla will pick your last steel profile as a default. Now it has picked our crane, the rail as our steel default member. Now no problem, this is changeable. Just double click on that and this will take you to the column properties. Then go to select. We want to change this steel member. Now from here we want to change, we want to use an I-beam of 250. Want to use an I-beam or universal beam of 250 right here. 250. Then click apply and accept. Do the same thing here, apply and accept, and come to position, pick middle, and turn these two back. Click that. Below. Perfect. But that is not the best way we can do that. Click apply. We've clicked apply, and now we can just copy this. Let's interrupt that. Want to reorient this, just double click on that, come to position here and change this to top, back, apply and accept. Now at this spot we want to copy, we want to place the column base, or prior to placing the column bases, we want to first of all make sure that the end plate connection on top here is the perfect one. Now we'll come to applications and component and type here end plate. End plate. Now from this spot, we'll just pick on that. And plate number 29. First of all, we want to deselect this member, then pick on that. Want to weld this, we want to bolt that to that. Perfect. We'll cancel that out. We'll come to navigate and pick that, turn this round so that we'll be able to see the position of this properly. Right click and click interrupt to exit that macro connection command. From here we want now to adjust this end plate connection. We'll come to bolt and change. We'll give it M16. We'll give it 8.8 XOX. We need some washers there. We want this to be right in the middle at 0. Perfect. How many do we want? We want 3 at 75 millimeter, center to center of the bolts. Perfect. We want that to be 50, this to be 50, and click on OK or modify. That's too wide. Change that to 20 and give that 20. Modify that a little bit smaller. That would work. Perfect. We want to make this 50 and change this to 50 and give it modify. That's too small. Give it 75 and give it 75 at the bottom here. Perfect. Click apply and accept. Now we'll come to navigate, come to rotate with mouse and pick the rotation point. That's it. I'll pick on this, right click and pick copy, and copy it from this spot to this end. Copy it there, right click and click that. it will be connected automatically using the same settings. Now here we'll go to base plates. We'll go to base plates, but we want to default on this. We'll double click on that. We'll double click on that base plate. The moment you click on base plate, you want to use its setting. Double click on it, then come to modify, apply, and accept. The moment you do that, it will pick the settings of this base plate, and you'll be able to use them here. And you'll be able to use them here. And remember, the numbering code or the numerical name of this base plate is 1042. Now the moment you've double clicked here and picked the settings or defaulting on it, and you want to invoke that command or do that macro, just type 1042, then click on it to make that macro active, and just click on the column and snap down here. It will use the same settings of this and adjust itself to appropriate size of this column. Now it is behaving like this because we've not placed our beam, I mean our column base. Now the next thing we'll do, I'll come to undo and come back to concrete right here. I'll come to footing. Under footing, I'll pick pad footing, and I want to snap right down there and come to column. I'll come to column there and snap at the bottom here. Snap at the bottom right there and double click on this column. The moment you double click on this column, you'll be provided with the concrete column properties, where you'll be able to change the heights and all the sizes of this column. First of all, we want to reduce the height. We'll come to position here and change this height to be 0. First of all, now we want to go and adjust the width and the length of the column. We want this to slightly be 500 and this also be 500, and click modify, click apply and accept. Perfect. Now we can go back to column base, and it's still retaining the settings of this column base. I'll just go ahead and pick this column and point the bottom end. It's taking a little bit longer. We'll undo this, then come to base plate and pick on the column, then point at the bottom right there. There you see the column base, the base plate and the grouting already placed. It has just picked the settings from this end and placing them here. Now what will slightly adjust is the bolts, but will not adjust. They are sitting the right position. Now there's no need of keeping this here. We'll just click that and click delete. We'll do the same thing here. We'll pick this, press Ctrl and pick that. Then we'll right click and click copy. We'll copy it from this spot and take it to this end right there with all the base plates and the column and the pad footing and the column base. We'll press Ctrl and select this and zoom closer and select that. We want to take all this to the opposite side, or we can just right click and come to special copy and come to linear. Now we want to go the direction of X, opposite, but we'll now type 60, but opposite, negative, but we want only 1. Then click copy, click OK, right click and interrupt just to get off that copy command. You'll find it already copied on this end. Now we'll come to view, we'll come to navigate and There we are. Here we are with this already placed. Now here we are. Let's turn this round. Press Ctrl R, pick any rotation spot and press your left button on the mouse and turn this round like this. Okay, thanks for watching this video, and we are going step by step to the final end of our workshop. We've now completed laying our crane runway longitudinal girder. We've not placed the clamps. We'll place the clamps in the next presentation and do the required adjustments to our girder. And let's meet on the next presentation. That is part 3 of this presentation or tutorial. Thanks and bye bye, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Let's meet then.